are the right quantity. You are a full cup. Let them flow. It is the being, not the doing. The value is there. Scroll your consciousness for reasons to be grateful to be you. Breathe deeply and slowly and consciously for a little while. Hi, today I'm going to read you the book written by Matt Haig, and the title is The Comfort Book. This book is a collection of mini meditations that can inspire you. So let's dive in and enjoy. Connected. We all have an impact on each other. We are all connected in so many seen and unseen ways, which possibly explains why one of the simplest and quickest roads to happiness seems to be to make someone else happy. The reason to be selfless is selfish. Nothing makes ourselves feel better than not thinking of ourselves. Hummus. Cooking can be therapeutic, but personally, I find the most therapeutic kind of cooking to be the kind where there is no actual cooking, where the recipe is so simple it is just a case of bringing all the ingredients together and mixing them up. A kind of get-together for food. A literal mashup. And the thing I enjoy non-cooking the most is hummus. Hummus is in and of itself a comforting food, which is probably why, when it eventually get noticed beyond the Middle East, it took off very quickly. I don't know what is about hummus that is so comforting. Yotam Ottolenghi talks of the emotive power of hummus and how, within the Middle East, it sparks serious rivalries. It feels somehow more than a food. It is the default dip. Culinary oxygen. I struggle to imagine a world without it. Well, I can, but it would be a slightly sadder world. I have been making my own variants for years, but only recently hit upon my favorite formula. As for ingredients, take 2 tins of chickpeas, a massive scoop of tahini, garlic, quantity-wise err on the side of incaution, a few glugs of olive oil, the juice of 1 lemon, some water for texture, and a generous sprinkle each of cumin, cayenne, and salt. Blend the lot. Serve with more cumin and oil. Take some bread, preferably warm and fresh, an olive roll, pita, whatever. Tear and dunk and enjoy. A human being. Your worth is you. Your worth is your presence. Your worth is right there. Your worth isn't something you earn. Your worth isn't something you buy. Your worth isn't something you gain through status or popularity or stomach crunches or having a really chic kitchen. Your worth is your existence. You were born with worth, as all babies are, and that worth doesn't disappear simply because you have grown a little older. You are a human being. Beware because your value never needs to be justified. You aren't valuable because you work hard, or earn a lot, or can jump high, or have a six-pack, or you build a business, or you are kind, or look good in selfies, or present a TV show, or can sit at the piano and play 4 Lays off by heart. Your value has no because. You are the right quantity. You are a full cup. You are worth yourself, and that is always enough. Social media can be a gallery. Social media can be a gallery of lives you aren't living, of diets you aren't following, of parties you are not attending, of holidays you're not on, of fun you're not having. So cut yourself a break and scroll your mind instead. Scroll your consciousness for reasons to be grateful to be you. The only fear of missing out that matters is the fear of missing out on yourself. Rain. You don't have to be positive. You don't have to feel guilty about fear or sadness or anger. You don't stop the rain by telling it to stop. Sometimes you just have to let it pour, let it soak you to your skin. It never rains forever. And know that however wet you get, you are not the rain. You are not the bad feelings in your head. You are the person experiencing the storm. The storm may knock you off your feet, but you will stand again. Hold on. Tips for how to make a bad day better. Get up, get washed, get dressed. Put your phone in another room. Stand up, move your body, go for a walk. Stretch, place your legs against the wall. Get some sunlight if there is some available. Head, if you can, to somewhere green. A garden, a park, a field, a meadow, a forest. Breathe deeply and slowly and consciously for a little while. Phone someone you love. If there is a nagging thing you are expected to do but really don't want to do, cancel it now. Do it now. If you can, cook a good meal and concentrate on the process. Cooking is the best kind of active meditation. Avoid artificial blue light, especially after dark. Allow bad thoughts, because that way they pass through quicker. Watch some TV you really like, but before you watch it, work out how long you want to watch for and stick to it. If it is a clear night, watch the stars, just as Marcus Aurelius did in times of turmoil nearly 2000 years ago. Go to bed before midnight. Don't try too hard to get to sleep. Just allow your mind to absorb the day and let all those fears and frustrations float through. Damn. Let them flow. All those unspoken thoughts, all those suppressed emotions, all those unacknowledged difficulties, all those guilty secrets, all those painful memories, all those hidden corners, all lost yourself trying to find your own value. You are not an iPhone needing an upgrade. Your value is not a condition of productivity or exercise or body shape or something you lose via inactivity. Value is not a plate that needs to be continually spun. The value is there. It is intrinsic, innate. It is the being, not the doing. One beautiful thing. Experience one beautiful thing a day, however small, however trivial. Read a poem, play a favorite song, laugh with a friend, gaze at the sky just before the sun's final tumble towards night, watch a classic movie, eat a slice of lemon drizzle cake, whatever. Just give yourself one simple reminder that the world is full of wonders. Even if we are at a point in life where we can't appreciate things, it sometimes helps to remember there are things in the world to enjoy when we are ready. A paradox. A therapist once told me that the most common complaint he heard from his patients was the feeling that they didn't belong. The feeling of being an imposter or of being outside things, of not fitting in, of failing to connect easily with people. I found this as reassuring as it was paradoxical, that one of the most common feelings among people was the feeling of not fitting in among people. The comfort, then, is the weird truth that in one sense we have most in common with others when we feel awkward and alone. Isolation is as universal as it gets. Change is real. We turn keys all the time, or rather, time turns keys all the time, because time means change. And change is the nature of life, the reason to hope. Neuroplasticity refers to the way our brains change their structure according to the things we experience. None of us are the same people we were 10 years ago. When we feel or experience terrible things, it is useful to remember that nothing lasts. Perspective shifts. We become different versions of ourselves. The hardest question I have ever been asked is, how do I stay alive for other people if I have no one? The answer is that you stay alive for other versions of you, for the people you will meet. Yes, sure, but also the people you will be. Power. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, thought that if we are distressed about something external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. I love this, but also know from experience that finding that power can be near impossible at times. We can't just click our fingers and be rid of, say, grief or the stress of work or health worries. When we are lost in the forest, our fear might not be directly caused by the forest, or our being lost in said forest. But while we are actively lost in a forest, it very much feels like the source of our fear is being lost in the forest. But it is helpful to remember that our perspective is our world, and our external circumstances don't need to change in order for our perspective ourselves in are metaphorical, and sometimes we are unable to escape them. But with a change of perspective, we can live among the trees. Baby. Imagine yourself as a baby. You would look at that baby and think they lacked nothing. That baby came complete. Their value was in it from their first breath. Their value did not depend on external things like wealth or appearance or politics or popularity. It was the infinite value of a human life. And that value stays with us even as it becomes easier to forget it. We stay precisely as alive and precisely as human as we were the day we were born. The only thing we need is to exist and to hope. Mystery. Think of the works of art that stand the test of time, from the Mona Lisa to Middlemarch. There is always something unsolvable about them. Something critics can debate passionately centuries later with no final certainty. Maybe the art of living is like that too. Maybe the purpose is the mystery, not beyond it. Maybe we aren't meant to know everything about our lives, and maybe that's perfectly okay. Basic knownness. In Buddhism, there is the concept of metta or maitri, meaning benevolence, meaning benevolence or loving kindness. Metta is about accepting yourself as you are. There is no intent to change you, but rather an acceptance of yourself and all things as change. As Pema Chodron explains in When Things Fall Apart, what makes this concept radical is that there is no attempt to become a better person. It is about giving up control altogether and letting concepts and ideals fall apart. This starts with realizing that whatever occurs is neither the beginning nor the end. Once that happens, you can see that whatever you are feeling is within the normal human range and has been felt by humans since the beginning of our history. Thoughts, emotions, moods, and memories come and they go, and basic knownness is always here. The concept of metta goes beyond self-comparison. The concept of metta goes beyond self-compassion though. In a metta meditation, the aim is to extend compassion first to yourself. In a metta meditation, the aim is to extend compassion first to yourself, then to family and friends, and then beyond that to all beings. Even the difficult ones who annoy us or make us angry. Often this is done via a mantra which begins by focusing on ourselves, then moves on to focusing on all of life, spreading out in widening concentric circles of compassion like ripples in a pond. May I be safe and live happily. May she be safe and live happily. May they be safe and live happily. May all living beings be safe and live happily. It's beautiful. The idea is that extending compassion to all things helps us to connect to the unity of life. We feel the world's suffering, but experience too the joy of life and all nature. We become a part of all things through compassion. We become the metaphorical fire, earth, air, and water. We become what we always were, life itself. 1. Numbers are addictive because they enable us to measure We might want the best for other people, for our friends and our family, but far too often numbers are involved. I think the numbers get to us. Every value is numerical. We become finite and measurable and of variable value. We lose our sense of infinity, of life itself. Where numbers exist, measurements exist, and measurements limit us, because measurements take us from infinite perspective into a finite perspective. Only finite things can be measured, after all. Nothing is closed. One of the reasons we like stories is because we like structure. We like a beginning, a middle, and an end. We especially like a good ending. Think of all the times our opinion of a book or a movie has hinged on the ending. If a movie has a terrible ending, it often ruins the whole thing for us. The film director Jean-Claude Godard said a story should have a beginning, middle, and end, but not necessarily in that order. And I used to love that quote and agree with it until I went through a breakdown and craved the comfort of classic narratives, of beginnings and middles and ends in that order. And I liked endings that wrapped things up nicely with a big bow. I craved a resolution, but of course, life doesn't really have a resolution. Even death isn't a resolution. Even if we don't believe in an afterlife, we have to acknowledge that the world after us goes on in unknowable ways, and also the ways people will or will not remember us are unknowable too. There are only open endings in life. And this isn't a curse. This is a good thing. As the Buddhist thinker Pema Chodron puts it, we suffer from resolution. I find that idea so liberating. To admit that closure is unreachable in a universe where everything is open. The power of why. One thing I have been asked a few times is this: does writing about bad experiences make you feel worse? I understand why people ask the question, but for me the answer is a profound no. I discovered this years ago, when I was very ill, at the lowest of the low, when I could hardly speak. I wrote down what I was feeling. One day I wrote down the words invisible weight. Another day I wrote, I wish I could claw into my head and take out the part of my brain that makes me feel like this. There were even darker things I put down. But writing down darkness didn't make me feel dark. I already felt dark. Writing things down brought that inner darkness into external light. Nowadays, I sometimes write about what I want. The key to this is honesty. Be brutally, humiliatingly honest. I recommend this. For instance, you could write, I want a six-pack. And seeing that wish on the page might automatically make you realize something about it. It might make you feel silly for having it. You might already be awakening another part of you that helps you diminish the craving. But either way, it is good to ask a single word question after it. Why? Why do I want a six-pack? Then, to be entirely honest in your answer, I want to look good. And again, why? For myself. And then you might stare at that answer for ask it again. Why? Because I want their approval. Why? Because I want to belong. Why? And you can keep going deeper and deeper through the tunnel of whys until you reach the light of realization. And the realization may be that wanting the six-pack wasn't really about the six-pack. It wasn't about your body. It wasn't even about health or strength or fitness. It was about something else entirely. Something that wouldn't be fundamentally addressed or solved by gaining the six-pack. Writing, then, is a kind of seeing. A way to see your insecurities more clearly. A way to shine a light on doubts and dreams and realize what they are actually about. It can dissolve a whole puddle of worries in the bright light of truth. Yeah,